Live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Social Chats, episode number 6 with Catherine, my lovely, talented business partner, and my name is Heather. We're both with Keep It Simple Social Media, and we try to do live chats helping you navigate your way through the ever-changing world of social media and technology. And on that note, today we have an amazing guest with us that we're actually very excited to have here on Social Chats. So this is a live episode on Facebook. And what that means is our guest speaker today is in Toronto, Ontario, and Catherine and I are coming to you live from Whistler, BC. But what's even more exciting when you're doing Facebook Live, as you as the audience, if you had a question, you could just simply write it directly in the comment section below where the video is shooting. And Catherine and I, near the end of the show, we review the questions and we try to get our guests to answer as many of them as we can. Today, our guest is Richard Silver. Now, Richard is the leader behind the most incredible, diverse real estate team, Torontoism.com, with Sotheby's International Realty in, of course, Toronto. Richard is actually the Senior Vice President with Sales at Sotheby's International. He has been the past president of the Toronto Real Estate Board. He is a certified international property specialist, past director of large of the Real Estate Association of Canada. He is a speaker and a writer with the technology real estate and has been voted in the top 100 of the most influential people in real estate with Inman News. So I can tell you, we have got someone who knows his stuff here on our social chat today, and we are honored to have Richard Silver joining us.
Even I'm impressed. Thanks, Heather, and thanks, Catherine.
He's impressed too. This is so exciting. So in this episode, we will be discussing Richard Silver, the Torontoism.com absolutely killer website. It's one of the best websites I have ever seen for real estate, and we've been doing this for dozens of years. So this is something we'll look at, and also his approach to his award-winning social media accounts and approach to technology and real estate. So 3 main topics. Content for your website. How does he come up with this amazing content? And there's lots of it. Torontoism.com, have a look. Video and photo, secret behind such wicked video and photography. And also the evolution of real estate marketing over the years. I believe Richard's been in business for 37 years. This is a wealth of knowledge. And so we will ask him about the evolution of technology.
So let's bring Richard into the studio with us for our live chats. Welcome, Richard.
Hey, hi everybody.
We're very excited to have you in the studio with us today for social chats. Richard, we want really you to do most of the talking today, and we want to start by asking you a little bit about your evolution from, let's say, print media into the technology realm, where you are just killing it online with your website and social media. So without further ado, we are handing the screen directly over to you to tell us a little bit about your journey.
Well, it's been a really interesting journey, I must say. It's been quite wonderful. But if you can imagine, 37 years ago when I started real estate, there was absolutely no cell phone. There was the internet didn't exist. We had Commodore 64 computers, and the first Apples came out. And so things have changed a lot. Everything was, we hand wrote a lot of our offers. And so now we have this wonderful technology, and our only option really was print media and postcards. And now we have a whole wealth of options, the internet, social media, so we're really lucky to be able to, for not large amounts of cost, to be able to get our message out there. So I was an early adopter of the internet. And I also just started when we moved towards being able to blog. I was probably one of the first people who started blogging. I just thought, at the end of the day, we are bloggers because we answer questions from our clients all day. And so what I did is every question that I was asked, I tried to make it into a blog. And then I tried to use my website to post the blog and to use social media to get the message out there.
Most excellent. You have an incredible wealth of resources on your website. How was that inspired, Richard?
Just everything that came up. If we went to do an inspection of a house and it turned out that the house had Chi-Tech plumbing, then I wrote an article about Chi-Tech plumbing. If it had termites, I wrote an article about termites. And I put myself on a really strict agenda the first few years where I was writing 3 to 5 blogs every week, and short blogs, but they were basically answering the questions that were being posed to me by my clients. So I thought finding the topics to write about is really easy. Where are the dog parks in downtown Toronto, off leash as opposed to on leash? What kind of things, should you be looking at in the spring for your house? What are the updates you might want to do during the summer? What are the things you want to do? I mean, I could go on and on and on because these are the questions our clients ask, and we're just responding to them.
That's excellent. The other thing that that we've noticed a lot when we follow your website, because it's absolutely amazing. So any of the viewers that really want to see how a real estate agent's website would work the most powerful for them, head on over to Torontoism.com and have a look at what Richard and Catherine and I are talking about today. Richard, you go far over beyond just being a resource for buyers and sellers. You help real estate agents as well. You write a lot of articles helping them be better.
Yeah, and oftentimes I get asked about that because people say, well, why would you want to teach other realtors the secret of your trade? And the sad news is this: there's a huge difference between telling people about something and having them actually do it. I mean, you can talk until you're blue in the face and you can tell people 10 good things, and if each one of them walks away and does one of them, then that's really good. That's really successful. And that's the sad, but the reality of it, the sad part. But so I don't mind sharing information, and I've also found it's a great source for referrals. There's a lot of agents I've met in my travels, in my teaching, and they're always sending me referrals. They always have somebody moving to Toronto, or I always have somebody moving out to Vancouver or Victoria or different places, or the United States. And so there's a lot of feedback, but those people are the ones that you meet when you get out and you network at events that have to do with our business. I find it's really interesting, some of the agents who will not go to a lot of the events that are, industry events because, well, why do they want to spend time with a lot of other realtors? But the answer is those realtors are, most of them are probably not in your marketplace. They're not your competition, but they can be great sources of referrals for you. So that's one of the reasons I'm happy to go out. I'm happy to speak. I'm happy to share information.
Yes, I heard recently that you would go to an opening of an envelope.
Yeah, that's what I tell people. I say, because if I have an option to meet people, I mean, we just listed a property this week. I met the people when I was doing an Emerge conference up north. They've referred to me their grandmother's house, and we've got it on the market, and we'll sell it. And that happens all the time. It's quite wonderful how things progress that way. So yes, and I would go to the opening of an envelope.
Most definitely, I would too. I'm a seminar junkie, I used to say. Yeah. But that's where you're learning things, right? You're finding out the most brand new technology, who's using it, and then you can go and do research on that person, on that company. And I think that's part of your secret sauce, Richard, is you and your team, you've got your finger on the pulse of everything that's happening and you're experimenting.
Yeah, I think I need to talk about my team a little bit. Some of them are in the background here. I don't know if you can see them or not, but we have a very diverse team. We went for an international team. We went for people who spoke multiple languages. I think in total we speak 10 languages within the office, our little group. There's 5 of us who are licensed, 2 unlicensed, and we have a great time. We've gone to India, we've gone to all through the States, we've gone to Dubai and London, and we're getting clients from all over. Rizwan spent the weekend showing some people property, and they originally came as a referral from India. And we've been to China. We have Tracy, who speaks Mandarin, and so she's doing a lot of business with Chinese clients who are coming or who have already been living here for years. And, she speaks the language. We go out to events with them, and we've got a great team. And thank God for Tanya, who, as you know, holds us all together with tape and glue, because she's the one who looks after all the back end stuff for us.
And we love Tanya. She is absolutely, you have an incredible team. We love everyone on your team when we speak and work with them.
And we're very lucky. We're very lucky.
Catherine.
Okay, I have a question for you. Yeah. So by the way, this is a live broadcast. So anyone who's joined us, thank you for joining us. If you have any question, just type them in the comment field below, and we can ask them directly to Richard. Also, there will be a replay, so if you missed a part of this episode, you can go back on our Facebook page and watch it again. But one thing that comes up when you look at your website is the amazing videos and photography. Every listing has gorgeous photography, and the videos are not just of the listing. There's also a lot about your team and little bios by videos. So we were wondering kind of what's the secret behind that, and if you're a realtor that's starting out and maybe doesn't have like an enormous budget, like do you have any recommendations?
Yeah, I started off and I was basically doing everything myself. And, I was a do-it-yourselfer, and as much as I could, I just kept plugging away at it. And I was spending 12 to 18 hours a week working on my website and all the things that are involved. But about 5 years ago, I went over to the dark side, and I hired a company that does a lot of the stuff for me, and, working with all sorts of wonderful service providers, you guys, and a couple of others as well. We've been able to do, to expand and to do more. And the key is always to bring people to the website, because on the website you have all the information about the team. I talk about, how to sell your house privately. I talk about what our team has to offer. I talk about what is included in the commission that we charge, and what is the commission that we charge. I chose to do that. A lot of agents wouldn't, but I thought it's very important just to put the question right out there. Here's what we charge. Here's what's included. So I try and make it a place where almost every answer to all those questions can be answered. So one of the things I thought, as things progressed and we got more and more into video and video streaming, and it became, people, you have to remember in the early days, there just wasn't the bandwidth to do a lot of the stuff that we were doing. So you couldn't have a video. You were lucky if you could get a very small pixeled photo. But as bandwidth increased in Canada and the United States, it really led to a lot of us moving towards video. And so video tells a story. It tells you about the person. So each of us has videos. Rizwan, if you go to our website, you can see videos of all of us. And then I found that talking about yourself is often difficult for a realtor to do. So we did a whole series of videos where we're talking about what we like about an area that we're working in. So what we like about condominiums, what we like about, Cabbagetown or Rosedale or Forest Hill or all the different areas in downtown Toronto. And, it allowed people to get to know the realtor better, but also a little bit about the area. And number one is always going to be food. You got to know that. It's true. Everybody wants to know where are the best places to eat. They want to know your 5 favorite restaurants. Strangely enough, it's a little difficult because as a realtor, as you know, when you're a full-time realtor, oftentimes you don't even get a chance to eat out at night. You're basically, you're a slave to the phone. The phone's going to ring, and you're going to have to leave your friends, and you're going to have to go out and work on an offer. So I have a tendency not to try a lot of the restaurants, and also to stick with my, the ones I'm used to, the ones I'm keeping, the ones I keep on going back to because it's easier.
You know what I'm hearing in a lot of what you're saying, Richard, is when you got started, you put in the blood, sweat, and tears.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You put in the hours. As a previous managing broker, I used to always say to the salespeople, a banker goes to work 8 hours a day. And you were putting in 12 and 16-hour days to build your foundation. And you were curious, and you got out there and you said, I'm going to try this, and I can't afford to pay for videos. I'm going to make them myself. And then you just took that and started to roll with it. And boy, it has turned into a beautiful success story for you.
Thank you. I think as well, if you cannot afford it, you have to learn how to do it yourself. There's no question about it. But if you can afford it, I think there's nothing better than to hire a specialist, hire people who do things that you do not do well. And I think you have to be really upfront with yourself. If you're a great photographer, great, continue it, make it into almost your second career. But the minute that you realize that you're not a great photographer, you don't understand, you're not a great editor, go out and find somebody who is, because the dollar value of that is huge. And it's a wonderful thing to have, to be able to say, oh, I like that group because they do great high definition videos. They do great drone shots of property. They do, and yes, there is more expensive. There is a larger expense, but it does become part of your brand. It becomes part of what you're known for. And I think that's very important. Even in houses that, need renovation and they're not, I don't know that I would do a big drone shot of something that was pretty awful, but I think people want to know what it is they're getting into. So, we will often do, if we have a house that needs renovation or is very, very plain Jane, we will do all the photos just the way we do on a very high expensive house. So, we may go to a bit of a simplified, we won't have 250 photos, we'll have maybe, 40, but the photo should state what the house is.
Mm-hmm. It's professional. And it's expected today, don't you think?
Oh yeah. An agent, I think, who puts out a listing and it says photo not included or photo not available. If they want, if Korea wanted to have them shot, that would be fine. It's, up at a firing squad or something. I'm being facetious.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. I didn't really mean that. I'm just sort of, but you know what? I was one of these big proponents all the time I've been in real estate. I think, unless you have the photos for the listing, don't put it on MLS, and have proper photos. The fact of something appearing on MLS and it says photo not available, I think is unconscionable.
Exactly. Catherine.
So you've seen a lot of things in real estate marketing, the evolution of it, I guess, since you started your career up to now. And maybe you can talk to us a little bit about that. And where do you think the future is heading?
Well, that's a good question. Every time I go to an event, there's some new shiny toy. And, there are some that are going to stay and there are some that are going to just fall by the wayside. Trying to figure out which is the one that you think is going to stay and which is going to develop, some of it has to depend with the product and if it's a good product. And some, I saw one of the first Blackberries before Blackberry went live, believe it or not. We're talking about there was an AREA conference about 35 years ago, and there was this man there, and it happened to be the developer of the BlackBerry, and I cannot believe that he was showing me this thing called a BlackBerry, because by that time we'd had pagers, and I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh my God! And all it did was buzz and tell, and then you had to call into the office and see what the information was. But we had pagers, then we went to BlackBerry, then we went to now we have the iPhone, which absolutely does everything. You can pay your bills, you can do everything, you get a massage, you can direct yourself in traffic. There's wonderful things that the technology can bring to us, but there's always going to be a new toy. And you know what? I think it's probably going to be different apps that we might see that will help us do the business. But certainly I've seen a lot of products come and I've seen a lot of products go. Some of it's a great product, but the marketing is poor and it just doesn't sustain itself. What happens with a lot of great products, though, is they get bought by bigger companies, and then that's how they exist.
Excellent.
What's new and what's coming? I have no idea.
Well, they say that it is the fastest changing industry in the world today. And my gosh, we do it 24/7. And sometimes we look at ourselves and say, are you kidding me?
I know. Well, that's why I think you're seeing so many teams. That's why we have a team, because everybody has their own specialty within the team. I know that I can't do everything, the best as everybody else. There's certain people on the team that do it better, and I'm happy to let them go and do it. And I think it's really important for you to realize that I think that's why you're seeing so many teams as well. The business is much more complicated than it used to be. There's much more avenues. There's a lot of wonderful opportunity, but I think you have to have a direction, and I think you have to have a team that follows in the direction. And our team, we chose to be very international. We saw that the market in Toronto was becoming more and more and more international, and immigration was an issue, even if it's immigration from Alberta and Newfoundland. And so we realized that we had to be sensitive to that. So we do a lot of outreach. We do a lot of traveling around the world to meet people. And oftentimes I'll come back after a week or two being away, and I've come back with a stack of cards this high, entered in the system, and I can't remember whether I met them in China or Egypt or wherever. But the nice thing is that getting around, strangely enough, and just going to visit these people, they remember you. They remember it's much easier than being on the emailing back and forth with somebody. You won't have the same as that face to face. Let's go for a drink. Let's go have some dinner. Let's talk and tell me what your issues are.
That's exactly where the small world comes from. We are so close to each other today. And you're taking the extra step by going and meeting those people in their own countries and then sharing their information. Actually, you shared their information with Sotheby's International on your website.
Yeah.
Properties in New York, India.
Oh yeah, we like to keep, and they share ours. We have a wonderful new listing, as you know, on Witchwood Park, and we sent all the information to Britain, and so it's going to be in their newsletter with pictures of the property, and it's, we try and target what would be a good fit. So Witchwood Park is a very formal, very sort of British manor house, and we thought, it'd be perfect to be on their newsletter. So all the information went there. It's now going to be on their newsletter, and that's what we try and do as we travel around. Something that would be, new construction would be very popular in China, something that would be a little bit more to deal with land or even a winery. Wineries are very popular within the Chinese community, and investments in land. So it really just depends on the property, and we market it with using all of those resources and the resources we've made around the world to help us.
Yeah, you certainly have. And it seems to be working really well. And you started small and you've built from there. I think, Catherine, you had a question.
Well, I was thinking, in your travels and as you see how things are moving on, would you say that mobile, like you referred to BlackBerry back in the days and then to the iPhone, that mobile and having a website and accounts and things that are able to load really fast, I guess there's different internet speed in different, places and stuff. So maybe mobile is like the way like he or something?
The biggest difference and as you travel is, of course, not so much in North America or in Europe or in even South America, parts of South America, but the minute you get into Asia, you have a huge marketplace in China, and there's a Chinese firewall. And basically, there is no Facebook, there is no Twitter, there is, you need to use a VPN to get into Google and to other Google products because they're basically they're not available there. But there is this wonderful thing called WeChat, and WeChat is used by probably more people in the world than Facebook is. And yet a lot of our Facebook people, they don't know about WeChat, they haven't signed on. And so we're making a real strong effort at Sotheby's and with our Torontoism team to use WeChat as a tool to get to that community. But you really have to and of course you have to translate or have it translated for you.
I have experimented a little bit with that, but for myself, I had a bad experience, so I've kind of shied away from it for a little bit. Richard, one of the things when Catherine and I are teaching our courses.
Oh, thank God it's not my phone.
Mine is on silent, but it came right through onto the computer. That's why. So back to when Catherine and I are teaching, usually at the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver or at the university or somewhere, we tend to have students say to us,
oh, yeah. Yeah, I know where this is.
Does this social media really work? I mean, it's a lot of time and then you're going to spend some money. Is it worth it? And all this talk about your website and putting blogs on your website and interactive talking and chat or video, is the expense, is the time. Richard, what do you say to those realtors?
You know what? Well, it's not different from the discussion that I had years ago when people would say to me, now, is it really true that the internet is going to be here to stay? People would ask me, so do you think this internet is a real big thing? Maybe I should get a website. And this was major corporations who will remain nameless, but they are major corporations. And so that was a very interesting discussion. And also look where we've come with websites. I mean, you wouldn't think of being in the business these days without a website, certainly without a company website. And agents do have their websites. The other thing is, I get a lot of calls from people who have followed me for years. And the one thing is, not only do you have to train your clients to go to your website and to look up things, you can also use your website to share information with them. Say, we went to see a house a couple of weeks ago, and the house we could see had some Chi-Tech plumbing, and we'd written articles about the Chi-Tech, so we were able to send them back to our website to look at the information about Chi-Tech. So if you're always forcing people to go back to your website, there's a good chance they're going to see listings that may interest them. They're going to contact you. They're going to view your website as the place to find information. That's why IDX is so important, which is Internet Data Exchange. So the fact that you can go to my website and see other listings, not only my own, but other listings in an area, I think is very important.
Yes, reciprocity.
Reciprocity. A lot of agents don't like that word, but I think at the end it's very good. It's, if you don't have reciprocity on your website, then you're just, you're forcing the client to go to somebody else's website or to go to something like a realtor.ca and do all their searches on there and then call people agent by agent by agent. This way, if you have IDX or reciprocity on your website, they can go to your website and then they can look at all the other listings in the area by other agents. It works.
It certainly does, and you're right. There's not everyone is actually using reciprocity at this time.
No.
Catherine.
Well, I guess we want to really, really, really thank you. This show is coming to an end, episode 6 of Social Chats with Richard Silver. Richard, if people want to get a hold of you, what's the best way?
rsilver@sothebysrealty.ca. So rsilver@sothebysrealty.ca, or just go to the website. It's all there. I don't ask for people to sign in. My email address is right there. The website is right there. All the information. They can sign up for newsletter if they want, but it's all there. It's available to them.
And I highly recommend it. Torontoism.com is a really great resource. Even if you're not interested in real estate, you're just traveling to Toronto, you should have a look, because everything you want to do or know about, it's there. The coffee, the restaurant, it's all in.
All of us have put in our favorite restaurants, so that's all there. You don't even need Yelp. We're all there.
Yeah.
Richard, you are a wealth of knowledge. You're always open to share with everyone what you're doing, how you're doing it. And we can't thank you enough. And I'm sure when people are coming back to watch the replay of our Facebook Live episode with you today, they're going to be taking a ton of notes. I don't know if your team is around, if they want to run into the background and give us a big wave.
There's two of them here.
Excellent. Welcome. You guys are doing a phenomenal job. Thank you for joining us today. And Catherine's just going to end by talking a little bit about next week's show. And Richard, you're the best.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. All right. On next week's social chat, we will be joined by Blair Kaplan. Blair is an Instagram superstar. She's not because just followers count, but really she's got over 21,000 followers. She handles really, really great Instagram accounts, lots of big businesses. And she has agreed to join us and share her secrets on Instagram and Instagram for Business. We will be posting on our Facebook page and send invites as to when this show is going to be happening, probably Wednesday or Thursday next week. And yes, Blair Kaplan Communication, you can go have a look at her website and see what she's all about. And go follow her on Instagram and you'll see the power of Instagram.
And we want to thank everyone for joining us or watching the replay. My name is Heather.
I'm Catherine.
And remember,
keep it simple.
Thank you, Richard.
Thanks.